Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream. Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
It's $5 Friday, you bastards.
Really briefly, can you speak to rumors that there is another Chinese balloon above Alaska or any other parts of U.S. territory that the U.S. shot down?
So I can confirm that the Department of Defense was tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska airspace in the last 24 hours.
Was it March?
The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. Out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of the Pentagon, President Biden ordered the military to down the object. And they did. And it came inside our territorial waters. Those waters right now are frozen, but inside territorial airspace and over territorial waters. Fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Northern Command took down the object within the last hour.
So there was another object. This one was described as being much, much smaller. This one, they said, Mr. Kirby there at the podium said that it was about the size of a small car, not 2 or 3 buses full of payload. He said the payload on this one was much smaller. A fighter jet pilot confirmed that he believed from all their surveillance that it was an unmanned vehicle. And, of course, 40,000 feet, everybody who's ever flown, you know that the bell rings when you get to 10,000 feet, and then you cruise around 36,000 feet, right, somewhere around there. So 40,000 did present some sort of a problem with commercial aircraft or other aviation that goes on around that altitude. So they shot it down. Now, Kirby was saying that they were contacted sometime last night about this object. And so they waited till, I guess, the sun came up. I don't know. This is, I'm imagining that they had to wait till the sun came up to see exactly what they were dealing with, and then, dispatch a fighter pilot to, knock it out of the sky to actually take it down. Now, this was headed over the Arctic. It was over Alaska. That is where it was spotted. That is why Northern Command took it out. And so, we're just going to have to wait and see. And, of course, Marge, large Marge there, I don't know. This is crazy, okay? So they briefed Congress yesterday about the Chinese balloon. Now, we don't know if this object was even the property of a country, or if this was private property of somebody who surveils landmass, or it could be a million different things. And we don't know what it is. And we don't know if it's the property of a country. We don't know if it's, all we know is it wasn't military. It wasn't civilian from the United States that we recognized. Okay? So we don't know who owned this thing, and we don't know where it came from, and we don't know why it was there, and we don't know anything about it. Well, surprise, surprise, Marjorie Taylor Greene went on an obscenity-laced tirade yesterday during a classified briefing about the Chinese space spy balloon. And that, the confirmation that it was a spy balloon, I'm shocked, has actually been done. It's confirmed that it was a spy balloon, that we were jamming it, and that as it was trying to spy on us, we were spying on it, that we got a lot of valuable information from doing that with it, right? And so this is kind of, I guess, what the classified briefing was explaining to her, okay? And she went on a obscenity-laced tirade screaming at the briefers, "We don't trust you. We don't believe you. You're lying to me." I honestly, now the thing that she should be very upset about is that George Santos, this fraud, this lunatic, this man who, there's another story today about him and dogs. Okay, it's just, he's a sick, sad, pathological man. Okay, but the thing that should bother her is that when she looks around the room in a classified setting, that George Santos is there in that room with her. That should bother her. But instead, she unloaded on the briefers, telling them they're not trustworthy, telling them they were liars, telling them that, that she has no trust in any of the deep state. I mean, this is some sick stuff. This is some really creepy stuff. But, I don't know if the briefers were prepared for her. I have no idea if they told her, oh, okay, so expect some trouble from, Lady Jewish Space Laser over there. Okay, she's, a little unhinged, and she's probably going to lose her crap. When you tell her that we were able to jam the signal, they got nothing from us, we got stuff from them, meaning we were able to see what and also, this was the 5th Chinese spy balloon that had been observed over the United States. Okay, so there were 3 of them during the Trump administration. 3 of them. And I guess that's what made her scream and yell that you're a liar, I don't trust you, get out of my face, whatever it was. Other people in the briefing said she was completely irrational, quote, just screaming and yelling. Irrational, in my estimation, said a lawmaker who didn't want to, I mean, because, screaming and yelling at briefers, that's going to get you the result that you're after. Of course it will. I mean, it's just so sick. But Gregory Meeks from New York said any question that was asked of them, they answered. I think it confirms some of what's already out in the public domain. At no time was American sovereignty, and everybody, everybody's upset about that. At no time was American sovereignty violated. America was always safe. But he confirmed that there was, quote, tension in the room because he said some members just don't want to believe what they were told. They don't want to believe the briefers. And they said, oh, I don't believe you. I don't trust you. Here's her description of it. She said, I had to wait in line the whole time. Ooh. I had to wait in line the whole time. I think I was the second to the last person, and I chewed them out just like the American people would have. I tore them to pieces. I said the president may be a Democrat, but he's still the president of the United States, and they made him look like a fool. They made him look weak the week before the State of the Union. And I've said that publicly, too, by not shooting it down. And I said there was nothing I heard in there today that gave me any confidence in what they did. You humiliated the president. She's so worried about the national security of the United States and the president of the United States being made to look weak a week ahead of the State of the Union. Meanwhile, she had no problem dressing like a freaking Chinese balloon and yelling at the president with her hands cupped over her mouth so her voice would travel to the microphone that could pick her up, calling the president of the United States during the State of the Union a liar multiple times and heckling him in front of the whole world. This is how concerned she is about how Biden looked to the rest of the world. Oh, please, bite me, honey. You are just so... Go run your CrossFit, gym. Go do that. That seems to be the thing you're good at. Leave the intelligence to the intelligent. I mean, it's just so unbelievable. And, she just wouldn't listen to what, the other House members chimed in. And they tried to get her to calm down. They tried to get her to, stop screaming, stop yelling. And she said, they were trying to give me more excuses. And I said, I don't want to hear more of your excuses. And the briefer said, look, this is a matter of opinion. And she said, no, it's not. Your excuses, that's all you're doing. And it's wrong. And I'm just telling you, this is how the American people see it. And it's a serious problem. No, honey, this is how people who patronize your CrossFit gym see it. This is not how Americans see it. Americans actually understand that jamming their signal and observing it was probably pretty freaking good. It was probably very smart.
Clear.
things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randi Rhodes Show.
The newly created Republican-led House subcommittee created to investigate the alleged, quote, weaponization of the federal government held its first hearing yesterday. Woo-hoo. Republicans on the panel claim the government has been unfairly used to target conservatives, while Democrats argued the committee itself is kind of an example of improper use of the government. Chairman of the subcommittee, Republican Jim Jordan of Ohio, laid out his plans for the panel in his opening statement, while Delegate Stacey Plaskett of the U.S. Virgin Islands, who serves as the panel's top Democrat, expressed her concerns about what Republicans on the subcommittee are actually doing.
Americans have concerns about the double standard at the Department of Justice. Americans have concerns about the Disinformation Governance Board that the Department of Homeland Security tried to form. Over the course of our work in this committee, we expect to hear from government officials and experts like we have here today. We expect to hear from Americans who've been targeted by their government.
But there is a difference, my colleagues, between legitimate oversight and weaponization of Congress and our processes, particularly our committee work, as a political tool. I'm deeply concerned about the use of this select subcommittee as a place to settle scores, showcase conspiracy theories, and advance an extreme agenda that risk undermining Americans' faith in our democracy.
Members of that committee heard from two panels. The first included Republican Senators Chuck Grassley of Iowa, and Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, and former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. You'll remember she left the Democratic Party to become an independent. Each of them slammed the Justice Department, social media companies, and Democrats in Congress. For the sake of time, we've boiled this hearing down to its essence. Here's what it looked like.
Hunter Biden's laptop, Hunter Biden's business arrangements,
Hunter Biden laptop story,
the Hunter Biden laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop, Hunter Biden laptop.
Secretary Clinton regarding her use of a private email server for official business.
Her emails. These were the experts. Ron Johnson is the expert on the weaponization of what? Chuck Grassley, what is he, 90 over there? Chuck Grassley is an expert on the weaponization of the Tulsi Gabbard? Really, everybody? Really? And you know who their FBI expert was? Oh, this was really sad. This was really, really sad. Their FBI expert was a retired FBI agent who retired in 1999. I'm not kidding. His name was Thomas Baker. The guy has not been an active FBI agent since 1999. That's like 24 years ago. And he was testifying about how the FBI is political now and how would he know? The man has not been inside the FBI for 25 years. Oh my God, this was one for the record books. This was an amazing, I couldn't, the nerve of these people to sit there and talk to me about, how these are the experts and they're going to talk about the weaponization of the government when they really should be looking at Bill Barr using the office of, the Attorney General of the United States in order to get 3 weeks ahead of the Mueller report, which found at least 13 Russians who were interfering in our elections and indicted them. The same guy, Prigozhin, that's out there now putting mercenaries into Ukraine, was also in that report. Oleg Deripaska was in that report as being Putin's man, and employing Paul Manafort, who was Donald Trump's campaign manager, for God's sake. And Bill Barr gets up on the podium 3 weeks ahead of the dropping of the Mueller report to say there's nothing in here, move along. This drone has means nothing to you. And there were 10 instances of Donald Trump obstructing the inquiry, obstructing the Department of Justice in its effort to figure out how in the world did the Russians hack the Democratic National Committee, take emails from the DNC, give them to WikiLeaks, and then have Roger Stone coordinate the release. Because that's what happened. They have no problem with any of that. No, they have no problem with any of that. So at the end, after the Mueller report and Bill Barr got up to, disrupt its impact, at the end when, it was perfectly obvious that there were, 10 instances of obstruction, that the president had incited violence at the end of his term, that he was extorting Ukraine in the middle of his term, right? At the end, Bill Barr decides that he's going to appoint a special counsel to look into the weaponization of the government, okay? Why did they investigate Donald Trump? Why did they, turns out that he hires this guy, John Durham, and John Durham spends the last 4 years, the Mueller report, for those of you who are curious, it went on for 2 years. This went on for 4 years. He tried to prosecute 3 people. 2 of them were acquitted by a jury. And one guy, Kleinsmith, who was a very low-level FBI agent who was going to the FISA court and asking for the 4th authorization of the same FISA warrant, okay, actually didn't do the form right. And he pled guilty to fudging the form, and he got community service. The other 2 people, one was the guy who was the Russian source, swear to God, the Russian source for what's his name? The one where Donald Trump was in a hotel and I keep wanting to say the Star Report because it was just that lascivious.
Steele?
Yeah, Christopher Steele. So the source for Christopher Steele was a guy, I think his name was Damchenko or something like that. So they tried to prosecute him, and a jury acquitted him too. He got nowhere, Durham. I mean, the whole thing was just, it was a big nothing because it didn't happen, okay? The government was not weaponized. The government actually did its job because there was Russian interference in the 2016 election. They did really hack the DNC. They did really give those documents to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks really did coordinate the release of those documents with Roger Stone, who was working with Donald Trump during the 2016 campaign. And Donald Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, really was working with and for Oleg Deripaska, to whom he owed millions of dollars. And Oleg Deripaska was Vladimir Putin's right-hand man. And we know this because he won the aluminum war. He won the big metal wars in Russia, and Putin gave him the aluminum, concern in Russia, that he literally was willing to commit murder to get. Rusal, that's the name of his company. Anyway, that's already been looked at by Durham, who weaponized, Bill Barr and Durham weaponized the government of the United States. And now they're going to investigate wait, what?
To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, everybody. Today is a special day. I don't just mean it's the Friday before the Super Bowl, which is special. I mean that it is $5 freaking Friday on Free Speech TV. So what is $5 Friday? $5 Friday is when you can actually make a donation for $5 and then say that you would like to do that every single month. Every month you would contribute $5. That makes you a sustaining member, and 43% of everybody in this audience that gives to Free Speech TV is a sustaining member. This gives us the certitude. This gives us certainty. This lets us know that we can go ahead and pay the people who work in Denver, Colorado, to make sure that Free Speech TV appears on DirecTV channel 348 every day, that it appears on Dish Network 9415, that it appears on Apple TV, that it appears all over the place, wherever you're looking for it, that it actually shows up. That's what the people in Denver, Colorado do. And if you would like to give $5 or more today and make it a recurring donation, then please do call the people in Denver, who would be thrilled to hear from you today. 877-378 8669. 877-378-8669. You can do it online at freespeech.org, of course. Freespeech.org. And then if you want to use your phone, which, you know, a lot of people are on right now, just text to the number 44321, 44321, like a countdown, the letters FSTV, and we will send you in exchange a very secure link where you can pledge $5 or more and make it recurring every single month. Thank you for participating in $5 Friday, the Friday ahead of the Super Bowl. We are very excited to get you in the mood to give again. All right. So yesterday there was this. I mean, this is madness what they're doing over there. Okay, and you know they're such freaking liars that they forget that there are people who are going to push back on what they're saying in real time. Okay, it is a committee. And while they have the majority of the seats on the committee and they created this select subcommittee, it's so outrageous. They forget that they're going to have Democrats in the room who can hear them and are going to want to say, what are you talking about? And be the fact check in real time upon their lies. I mean, it's insane what they came to talk about and versus what they said they were coming to talk about, then what they talked about, and who they are saying is an expert and in what. Like I said, their FBI expert was one FBI expert was a Fox News host, swear to God. And you know, the only people that watched this crap yesterday are QAnon Fox viewers, which is, you know, I mean, it looked like Fox News, except there was no crawl underneath telling us, you know, about, you know, ED. There was no crawl. There was no ads for, you know, electile dysfunction. Yeah, Mike Lindell, electile dysfunction. That's Mike Lindell's thing, right? But no, I mean, it was like one FBI person was a Fox News hostess, and the other FBI person hadn't served in the FBI in like over 20 years. It was mind blowing, really. It was really insane. So I'm just gonna play very, very short clips because I know you didn't watch it. But you got to know what's going on here.
We all know now that it was the Democratic National Committee, along with the Clinton campaign, who colluded with the Russians.
What?
They used a former Russian spy, Fusion GPS, and law firm to create a fake dossier and then tried to cover it up.
Okay, so his theory there, that's Chuck Grassley, who's what? 89 years old. Okay. And he's the senator. Why he toddled over to the House to give his expert testimony about something that's been disproved 80,000 times. But here's his theory. Again, okay, going back to 2015. It's almost 10 years ago at this point. Okay. But his theory is that Hillary Clinton hacked the DNC. She did it. She hacked the DNC in order to lose the election. Okay. In order to make herself lose the election by releasing documents that she hacked from the Democratic National Committee, right? In order to make herself lose. Okay, all right then. Here's Ron Johnson's expert testimony.
My first investigation ultimately revealed the extensive editing of then FBI Director James Comey of his July 5th, 2016 statement that exonerated Secretary Clinton regarding her use of a private email server for official business.
Okay. That's going back to 2016 and James Comey, who lost his job for, because Trump didn't like him, apparently. But his first investigation was into James Comey's statement about Hillary Clinton not having the intention or giving any classified information to anyone who wasn't authorized to see it. And so he had no crime. That was his. Okay. Here's further Ron Johnson's testimony yesterday.
Prior to the impeachment proceedings, Hunter Biden's obvious conflicts of interest in Ukraine became public, and Senator Grassley and I began investigating.
So we went to Russia. Yeah, we hung out there, is what we did. Here's Tulsi Gabbard.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg revealed on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast recently that Facebook limited the exposure of the New York Post Hunter Biden laptop story just weeks ahead of the 2020 election, only after talking with the FBI.
We had a whole hearing about that yesterday, Tulsi. That is not true. That story, by the way, the New York Post story, turned out to be completely false, and it was taken down for less than 24 hours by Twitter, and they said that was a mistake. They shouldn't have taken it down because, you know, even if it's false, they shouldn't have taken it down. And they put it back up less than 24 hours. So the big Hunter Biden deprivation, okay, the deprivation of the New York Post reading public lasted for less than 24 hours. Okay, so I have no idea what they're talking about, okay? I really do not understand. But you know why this is interesting? I want you to see Congressman Stewart. He slept through most of Tulsi Gabbard's opening statement and through the rest of the hearing. Just look at this man.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg
look at him.
Revealed on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast recently that Facebook limited the exposure of the New York Post Hunter Biden laptop story.
I'm going to say he had a very bad night the night before.
You see him tottering back and forth
yeah,
so slightly.
He was definitely hungover. He was definitely hungover. Something was going on with him. He slept through the rest of it. He slept through the whole thing. I mean, I was just watching him, you know, and he never woke up. He just didn't. And everybody's worried about Fetterman's health over in the Senate. He's fine. He's okay. But Mr. Stewart there needs intervention. He needs, somebody to come and just shake him or wake him up or blow air into his lungs or some such. It looks like Weekend at Bernie's kind of, thing. It looks like he was just propped up there to fill the. He was like a seat filler. It's very weird, very, very weird. But that was their best effort at the weaponization of the government. Okay, and then Jim Jordan realized, oh, you should never point the weapon at your own head. Damn it. Okay, I'm going to promise thousands and thousands of whistleblowers are going to come forward. They're all going to come forward in the future, sometime soon. And he was called out on that. This was a beautiful moment. I'll show you.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, this is pure perfection, okay? This is Dan Goldman, who is a newly elected representative from New York, asking Jim Jordan, where are your dozens of whistleblowers? Where are your witnesses? Where are they?
The chair now recognizes.
Mr. Chairman, could I have a point of order? There have been a lot of mention of information and testimony that you all have received from whistleblowers.
Yeah.
When are you planning on providing that to the minority?
You could have been for the very first deposition, transcribed interview of the whistleblower. I was there when he testified on Tuesday.
Okay, that's fine. I assume you'll turn those over. But what about you talk about dozens of whistleblowers? When are we going to get that information?
When they testify, when we I'll work with the ranking member on that information.
You don't have any transcriptions of their interviews?
We have the first one, and we have the dozens who've come and talked to our office.
They talk to your office privately?
They talk to Republican staff, right.
And they're not transcribed, no notes, no nothing?
The first one happened Tuesday.
No, I'm not talking about the first one.
The first one happened Tuesday,
dozens.
the next one happens tomorrow, the third one happens next Wednesday, and we'll continue to do that.
You just said dozens. Do you have notes from those, or they're just talking to you, your staff?
Mr. Chairman, isn't that how whistleblowers typically work?
Well, it's how they're supposed to work. It's not how they worked in the impeachment that Mr. Goldman was a part of when Mr. Schiff said he didn't have contact with that whistleblower, but in fact
Actually,
he did.
it worked exactly appropriately until Mr. Trump would not allow.
We're doing it the way we're supposed to do it, Mr. Goldman.
No, you're supposed to turn it over to the minority.
Right.
When they come and testify, you'll have access to the transcript like everyone on the committee will.
You mean your staff is not going to turn it over to our staff? We're just in the dark?
No, when the transcript is done, you will get the transcript.
I mean of the dozens of whistleblowers you have already talked to that came to talk to your staff.
Yeah. What do you want me to turn over there?
Did you?
Their names?
Notes? Anyone take notes?
I'll be happy to talk with the ranking member on how we handle that information.
Thank you.
All I'm telling you is we will schedule each for a deposition, and we are doing that. You didn't show up for the first one, but you could have been there. With that,
I didn't know about it.
You didn't know about it. You didn't notify us. You didn't tell us anything about anything. So, you know what this is like? Is like a ballroom at a QAnon convention. I mean, this was madness. And by the way, you're paying for this. You're paying for this. We're all paying for this. We paid for the Durham extravaganza. Millions of dollars we paid John Durham and his team Yeah, to look at the same thing that they're looking at here, the origins of the investigation, the Mueller report. This is what they're all looking at. I mean, this is insane. We had a special counsel for 4 years, millions of dollars spent, who's supposed to be keeping his distance from the attorney general. That's why you have a special counsel. You have a special counsel, so there's at least an appearance that the attorney general, the Department of Justice, is not communicating with an independent counsel who is over there looking at perhaps your boss. Okay? But that did not happen in the Durham investigation. Durham and Barr were traveling around the world together. Durham and Barr were going to, Italy. Italy, really looking for Italian satellites, I swear to God, that they thought were flipping votes. Or somebody said, and you know what they found in Italy? In Italy, the intelligence community, the Italian intelligence community, told the Attorney General of the United States and his special counsel, who he's not supposed to hang out with, but told them, we have evidence of some international financial fraud committed by the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And instead of Durham saying, I'm not authorized to look into financial crimes, because remember, Mueller wasn't allowed to look at Donald Trump's financial crimes. Remember that? Everybody was wondering, why is it that Mueller can't look at the money? What is going on there? Well, Durham wasn't supposed to either. But Bill Barr literally deputized, I swear to God. You think this only happens in crazy, far-flung westerns, spaghetti westerns and things like that? No. An Italian intelligence agent told the United States of America's Attorney General that they had evidence of international financial crimes committed by the current president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And the Attorney General of the United States then deputizes his buddy, John Durham, to look into it. And it disappeared off the face of the earth. So we never, ever, ever got any sort of, criminal, accounting of Donald Trump's supposed Italian international financial fraud crimes. So I would say that if you wanted to look into the weaponization of the government, if you wanted to look into wrongdoing, let's put it that way, by the United States government and how it could be turned to protect certain American citizens and not others, which is what, what's his face? Jim Jordan said that this was about. He said that that this committee was going to look into the disparate treatment that some Americans get from the Department of Justice and some treatment that others get from the Department of Justice, and that it's not equal. See, what he was implying was that the Department of Justice was tougher on Donald Trump than it was on any other citizen, which is so bogus. But what he's really ignoring is the fact that the Department of Justice under Donald Trump protected Donald Trump, used their position to protect Donald Trump, and to cover up Donald Trump's crimes.
Consider the John Durham investigation. At the urging of Republicans, including the good chairman, the John Durham Special Counsel investigation was set up in 2019 by Barr to try to find wrongdoing by intelligence or law enforcement agencies in the origins of the Mueller investigation. And we've heard some of the murmurings about this today. After 4 years and millions of dollars spent, the Durham investigation closed as a total flop, without unearthing anything like the deep state conspiracy that Republicans have been denouncing around here for years. It couldn't find anything of substance to it. Yet Barr and Durham kept pressing in clearly abusive ways. I hope your subcommittee will investigate.
Yeah, right. Fat chance. Never. Not in this here country. Not with this Republican Party. Not with this, barroom. This is the cantina. This is the Star Wars cantina and I understand that, a lot of us, didn't want to have to watch it. Most of us didn't. I had to. Okay. But I mean, the Fox audience is watching it. They really are. They're watching this swill. They're watching this crap. And, I hope alarms go off in their head where they realize that Durham's investigation produced absolutely nothing. And the people that Durham put on trial, the people who were acquitted by a jury, okay? One of them was Danchenko, that's his name, Mr. Danchenko, who was the source for Christopher Steele's dossier. That was the source. And the jury acquitted him, saying he didn't work for, Russian intelligence. That wasn't a made-up story. He didn't do anything wrong. Acquitted at trial. The other guy was, a lawyer named Sussman, also acquitted at trial. They had nothing except for crimes that Donald Trump committed in Italy. That the Italian intelligence, showed to Durham and showed to Bill Barr. And they were like, oh, no. We're not going down that road. We're here to say that Hillary Clinton hacked herself in order to make herself lose. Really? That's your working theory? Yes, and we're sticking to it. I mean, this was so stupid. It was so sick. It was so scary. And so, I got to say, the poor Democrats who have to sit through this swill. This was another 3-4 hour hearing yesterday. That they have to sit through this garbage, this garbagey presentation by guys who haven't worked in the FBI for 20 years. A girl who works on Fox News. And, two senators who are obviously, conspiracy theorists, right? I mean, Ron Johnson, ivermectin was his thing, right? And also, loves Putin. And then, Tulsi Gabbard, who's now auditioning to be a Fox anchor, right? She's a fill-in at this point. But, she decided to say that Ukraine had bioweapons labs or some such crap. I mean, this is such weirdness. This is such a sick compilation of, QAnon believers, of conspiracy theorists. And we're taking testimony from them. So the Democrats are sitting there trying to fact check them in real time. And oh my God, just asking them the simplest of questions like, where are your witnesses? Where are the real witnesses? Why am I listening to Chuck Grassley? Why am I listening to Tulsi Gabbard? These are your experts? Really? These are your experts. A guy who hasn't worked inside Okay, so when can we expect your witnesses? Well, you missed one. We had one, like last Tuesday. Yeah, okay, good. So you're going to transcribe that witness's testimony. You're going to give it to us, right? No, you could have been there. You didn't tell me you were conducting an interview. And where are the dozens of others that you've been referring to all day? We have dozens of FBI agents. We have dozens of whistleblowers. We have dozens of, and the only ones they produced are a Fox News host who previously worked at the FBI and a guy who hasn't worked in the FBI for 20 years. Those are your and they actually refer to those two as whistleblowers. They really did. And that's why I Googled him. I was like, he looks a little, I don't know, old. Let me see. 99, he retired.
Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Hunter Biden's laptop. Hunter Biden's business arrangements.
Hunter Biden laptop story.
The Hunter Biden laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop, Hunter Biden laptop.
Secretary Clinton regarding her use of a private email server for official business.
They will never do the people's business. So just, surrender to it. I understand that we have like this massive, debt ceiling, debacle that is headed our way just in a few months. They're not interested, okay? They're not interested in solving any problems. They're not interested in going through the budget. They are only interested in relitigating something that has been litigated and relitigated and then independently litigated, and then you had an independent counsel, then you had an attorney general, then you had witnesses. I mean, honestly, and then you had two jury trials that both ended up in acquittals. There was nothing criminal, evil, untoward, unethical that happened in the Mueller report. Okay, conducting the Mueller report, crafting the Mueller report, reporting the Mueller report, researching the Mueller report, investigating the Mueller report. Going through 10 different instances that Donald Trump obstructed justice. Okay, that all happened. There was nothing untoward or criminal or weaponized about the investigation into Russia hacking into the DNC. taking those emails, giving them to WikiLeaks, and then having the coordination of those documents into the public mainstream, a bloodstream by Roger Stone, while a Trump campaign manager named Paul Manafort worked for Oleg Deripaska, Putin's right-hand guy. That all happened. But I want to show you, just a really sad. It's sad for me because we used to be friends. You know this lawyer Jonathan Turley. I think some of you do. The best thing I could say about Jonathan Turley is he's available. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're a talk show host and you do guests, you can book Jonathan Turley. He will talk to anybody. He will talk to like dead satellites. He would actually do. But so we used to talk to him because he was anti-war. He's sort of a libertarian type of guy. And so back when we knew that George W. Bush had lied us into a war of aggression, and a kinetic war, as they call it, a real war, bombing the crap out of people based on lies. Jonathan Turley was an ally over that particular heinous, ugly fact, right? But I don't know. Nobody pays any attention to him anymore. He needs attention, so he decided he would go to the right-wing media people, the bookers there, and he would start, offering his, opinions to Fox News. Is he a bad guy? I don't know. I just know I used to talk to him, and he was always willing to take the call. That's all I can say. But it is sad to see him do this because he was asked very specific questions yesterday about the inner workings of Twitter, okay? Because they're not done saying Twitter did this. Anybody did this but Donald Trump. Everybody, colluded except for Donald Trump and Russia, okay? So anyway, Elise Stefanik, who I don't know what's happened to her either. She's gone bat crap, was asking Turley about the inner workings of Twitter, and he was saying, yes, that's what happens. Yeah, that's right.
Isn't it true that leading up to the 2020 election, Twitter had weekly meetings with not just the FBI, with DOJ, with DHS, with DNI, to conduct this unconstitutional censorship by surrogate? We know that because of the Twitter files, correct?
Correct. That's Jonathan Turley swearing by her, saying, yes, that's true. That happened, right?
The Twitter files are just the tip of the iceberg because there's so much more. There was a corrupt revolving door at the highest levels between the FBI and Twitter. Look no further than Jim Baker, former general counsel at the FBI, who helped unlawfully investigate Donald Trump in the 2016 election. Or look at Jim Comey's deputy chief of staff, who became the director of strategy at Twitter. Isn't it true, according to the Twitter files, that there were so many FBI officials who then went to work at Twitter that created their own Slack channel and crib sheet for onboarding? The Twitter files confirm that, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware, as the American people are aware, that according to polling, of the people that were made aware of the Hunter Biden laptop story, 53% would have changed their vote, including 61% of Democrats. This is the definition of election meddling, and it's the definition of election meddling by the FBI on behalf of Democrats, paid for by the U.S. taxpayers. It's collusion, it's corruption, and it's unconstitutional.
What? She just pulled a lot of threads there that aren't related to each other. And he sat there and said, that's correct. That's right. That's what went on in Twitter. That's, they had these weekly meetings. And yes, some guy who was Jim Comey's deputy ended up over at Twitter working in marketing strategy. It's not content. It wasn't content management. It was a strict, I don't know. They have like 10,000, 15,000 employees over there. I have no earthly idea what she's talking about. But Jonathan Turley, poor Jonathan Turley, he sat there and he agreed with her. Yes, that's how it goes in Twitter. That's what happens in Twitter. There are meetings in Twitter and the DNI. What? So Debbie Wasserman Schultz did the background on Jonathan Turley. Like, what do you know about Twitter?
Mr. Turley, turning to you, have you ever worked for Twitter?
No.
Do you have any formal relationship with the company?
No, I just have an account.
Do you have any specific or special or unique knowledge about the inner workings of Twitter?
Nothing beyond the Twitter files and what I read in the media.
So essentially, your responses to the questions here today were your own opinion and pure conjecture.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I try to base them on what we know from the Twitter files.
Well, but you said that you don't have any specific or unique knowledge of Twitter, but you spoke as if you did. You were asked very specific questions about Twitter's, the way Twitter functions and the decision-making that they make, but yet you don't have any unique or special knowledge about Twitter and have never worked for them. And so this is only just your opinion, would you say, as a Twitter account user?
No, I've come to give legal analysis based on facts that are in the public domain, and I was really referring to what I was asked about the Twitter files.
Reclaiming my time, legal analysis is another word for opinion.
I would think there is some distinction, but yeah, it ultimately is an opinion. But I believe the question to me was based on what the Twitter files show, and that was my reading of the Twitter files.
Right. And again, that's another way of describing your opinion being offered, which was represented as unique and special fact, which you don't possess.
Wow.
Well, I mean, listen, this is the problem. Jim Jordan said that you were going to hear from experts that you were going to hear from insiders, that you were going to hear from whistleblowers at Twitter and whistleblowers at the FBI and whistleblowers in the government. And he actually ended up calling two senators whose reputations are trash, okay, when it comes to Russia especially, and a Fox News hostess, Jonathan Turley, who's representing that he has some expertise on meetings that happen at Twitter, but he doesn't. And when asked, where are your whistleblowers? Where are your experts? When will we hear from them? When will we see the transcripts? When will you share the information you have so that we can question your witnesses? And he says, oh, we deposed one last week. Well, we didn't get the transcript. Well, you could have been there. No, that's not how Congress works. That's not how courts work. That's not how anything legal works. You have to, that's what discovery is. We all know this, right? One side shares with the other what their witnesses will testify to so that you can question them intelligently. This is such a grotesque circus.
Randy at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Okay, this is really good. This is Jared Moskowitz. He's a Democrat from Florida. Yes, we still have them. The odd duck, the Democrat from Florida. And he's like, I'm starting to feel a little bad for you guys.
I'm beginning to feel like a little bad for the majority. Like I just feel guilty because you guys have come today to try to prove that the Biden administration in coordination with Twitter is impugning free speech. And the problem is that Donald Trump, he is just this thing that hangs around your neck. Because at every turn, he undermines whatever credibility you want to have on this subject. I mean, Donald Trump and his administration, it's been proven, reached out to Twitter to take down tweets that got under his skin. The tough guy, Donald Trump, right? He got called the B word. Let's reach out to Twitter. Let's get the tweet taken down.
Teigen.
You guys have no credibility. You have none. Your own guy taking free speech off of Twitter. I also don't understand this bipolar thing that you're doing with Joe Biden. So every day you guys tweet out, Joe Biden is boring, he's sleepy. Every day you say it on TV. Now you want to tell the American people Joe Biden is an international super mastermind along with his son Hunter. I mean, it's just bananas. The Trump family is getting billions of dollars of loans from foreign governments by using their White House relationships. Any questions? Any questions on that? No, I didn't think so. You want to know if the Trump family made any money selling PPE during the pandemic out of the West Wing? Any questions about that? No, I didn't think so.
No questions about that. You want to know whether or not John Durham weaponized the independent counsel's office with the help of the Attorney General of the United States, Bill Barr, and literally went after two innocent people, put them on trial only to get an acquittal just so he could say he was doing something and bilk the American people out of millions of dollars for a trip down, another trip down a rabbit hole? You want to look at, the intimidation that is wielded by the U.S. government over people who are, just speaking freely about their opinion of Donald Trump? What about Chrissy Teigen? Why did the president of the United States use his awesome power to call Twitter, which is what they're alleging Democrats did, to call Twitter and get Chrissy Teigen's tweet taken down because it got under his skin, because it was insulting to him, because he didn't like her opinion of him? Chrissy Teigen, a supermodel, married to John Legend. That was what he decided to use the awesome power of the presidency to remove from Twitter. Chrissy Teigen. Oh, my God. Honestly, there's about a zillion things they could, they don't want to look into what was found in Italy. They went over to Italy, the two of them colluding together, the Attorney General of the United States and an independent counsel, hence the word independent. It actually says you should not be hanging out with each other. It's unbelievable. They don't want to investigate any of that. They don't want to look at that. They don't want to look at what the Italian authorities reported to them about Trump's criminality in international finance. No, we don't want to look at that. What about Jared walking away with $2 billion from the Saudis? No, we don't want to look at that. What about Ivanka getting Chinese, patents while she was a senior advisor to the president of the United States of America, who was praising President Xi, who just, we find out has been flying spy balloons over our country 5 times already. And Donald Trump doesn't even, either they didn't tell him or he didn't tell you. I don't know which it is. But she got her patents. She did. I mean, honestly, what the F is going on there? Why is this, what is, why are they revisiting the Russian collusion hoax? Why are they talking about the dossier? Why are they talking about Fusion GPS? Why are they talking about Peter Strzok and Lisa Page? Why are they doing this? I mean, honestly, I don't even understand it. I for the life of me, this makes no sense, especially knowing that the people of this country are telling them repeatedly from their own party, do the hard work that we need done on immigration reform. Do the hard work that we want done on, making the justice system more equal. We understand that you could be Donald Trump and get away with everything, including murder, on Fifth Avenue. We get, stop it, fix it, do something about the debt ceiling, do something about, shoring up Social Security, do something about shoring up. I mean, the Democrats are kicking your butt all over the place. They just saved the Medicare fund, $280 billion, by lowering the cost of prescription drugs through a negotiation with Big Pharma. Why couldn't you do that? How come you're letting them do this? Do some work. Now, they're not interested in doing any work. No. Work is not their thing. Work is not in their wheelhouse. Their thing is vilifying. Their thing is, oh, wait, they're not done. I mean, so these are the... these are the first 2 hearings, okay? The one on Twitter yesterday, and then the weaponization. I honestly do not understand. They are, listen, their record so far looks really, really puny, people. I mean, I agree with Moskowitz. I'm starting to feel bad for them. Not really. Neither was he. He's being sarcastic because they love Elon Musk. They love, Nazis. They love Kanye, right?
Let's talk about Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's talk about God bless Elon Musk.
Huh.
See these? God bless the guy who is allowing Nazis and anti-Semitism to perpetrate Twitter. There's been a 66% increase of anti-Semitism on Twitter since Elon Musk set it free. Mr. Chairman, I agree with you. It's not fair to say all conservatives are Nazis. That's preposterous. That's not true. But your Lord and Savior Donald Trump is having tea and dinner with them at Mar-a-Lago. Nick Fuentes right here It was a picture that is tweeted at me all the time saying Jews are a virus in response to my tweets. Donald Trump's having dinner with him. Nazis at Mar-a-Lago. And so, no, not all Republicans are Nazis, but I got to tell you, Nazis seem really comfortable with Donald Trump. So I have questions about that, Mr. Chairman. Why is that? Why do I get these tweets? Let's talk about Kanye West, right? The chairman of the Judiciary Committee for 3 months praising Kanye West. We love Kanye, right? A Nazi. Clearly now. It took months for that tweet to come down. How come? I mean, these are things I'd love to know. Is it because maybe they're your voters? I mean, they certainly aren't voting for me.
Yeah. And Marjorie Taylor Greene was introduced by Nick Fuentes after Nick Fuentes was praising Hitler, like in the same breath. And they said, and now everybody, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She had no problem with it. Kanye, the reason why he's referring to Kanye, just to refresh your recollection, Kanye actually said when, I guess, what's his face, was InfoWars. Alex Jones said to him, hey, listen, Hitler was not a good guy. Kanye said, I don't know. Hitler did do some good things with a ski mask over his face or a black stocking over his face, sitting on the right-wing lunatic show praising Adolf Hitler. I mean...
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All righty, everybody. Yes, Sunday is the Super Bowl. We're all excited. And today is $5 freaking Friday is what it is. $5 Friday. That is your chance to join the Free Speech TV family, the sustaining donor community, or to raise your $5 monthly contribution by $5. Wouldn't that be good? So like if you were giving $5, now you give $10 a month. If you were giving $10, now you give $15 a month. Just saying, it's a suggestion, something I thought of. Okay. But if you'd like to start a new monthly $5 donation or more today, please do call us at 877-378-8669. There it is on your screen, 877-378-8669, and one of our happy peppy people in Denver, Colorado will be happy to take your call and your pledge of $5 each month. That's what $5 Friday is about, a sustaining donor community, right? You could do it online if you like, freespeech.org, or you can text to 44321, 44321, the letters FSTV, and we'll send you a secure link, and you can pledge $5 or increase your monthly donation by $5, or give more than $5 and become a Free Speech TV sustaining donor. Thank you very, very much. Brother David.
It's frenetic, frazzled, $5 Friday, sister.
You bastard.
Okay, I'm going to try to be real calm and clear and collected because my week started on such a high when President Pop basically tricked the entire body to stand and applaud his declaration that Medicare and Social Security would never go under his watch. If you heard a over the ether, it was me. The second takeaway was if you wanted a clear demonstration of the actual difference between the two parties, you needed to look no further than behind him on the dais. Yeah. Because to camera left was this intense, resolute, listening woman. And to the right was basically a kid in algebra class, bored and looking at the ceiling and staring at the ceiling. And, oh, look, there's the fly that landed on Mike Pence's head. The third takeaway.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he just drifting in and out. The third takeaway were a couple of the fashion choices. Perjury Trader Groan just needed a fur hat, and she would have looked like she was trying to be Lady Gaga in the House of Gucci. And I do not know what Kristen Sinema was thinking with that strange prom dress pointy shoulder. It was just, again, shockingly wrong.
I have to tell you that the best response I got to her dress was through an email, and a guy tweeted. A guy emailed me who wore it best, and sent me a photo of Kirsten Sinema's yellow dress, and a life vest.
That's delicious.
It was so good. I laughed out loud sitting at my computer at home. I just wrote, I mean, what could you say to that? So I just wrote,
I'll have to Google that and get it on my page.
I don't know if it's a real meme or if this guy just created it and sent it to me by email, but it was hysterical.
That's Brill.
It was good.
But that brings us back to now the frazzled part because of what's going on. I watched the first episode of Killing County, the Colin Kaepernick on Hulu, and I'm not gonna be able to binge it because it's really powerful and good, but it's also really upsetting.
Uh-huh.
But then last night, because I'm starting to catch up with my docs before the gay Super Bowl next month, and when I was seeing my hitherto documentary of the year, the found footage documentary about Diana the Princess on HBO, there was Navalny, the documentary about Alexei Navalny.
Oh, it's hysterical. I mean, his personality is so winning. I mean, just so he's so awesome. He's just such an awesome dude. I mean, you know, I've seen this documentary probably 3 times. Okay, and there's this one scene where he's sitting in a bar. They're interviewing him, and they talk to him about Novichok, and he just looks at the camera and he goes, "Poison, really, poison."
Exactly. Yeah, no, I hope it wins the bald gold man with a sword because it's awfully good.
It's good.
And hi, chat room, you know what to do. $5 Friday.
Yeah.
And there you have it. There are still more of us, Randy.
I know.
And
I know. See, listen, here's the thing. I just want to tell everybody the reason why they're doing this dog and pony show, the reason why they're having this ridiculous, Congress of theirs, the reason why they're going down these rabbit holes and making the House of Representatives look like a Star Wars cantina of QAnon, worshipers, is because they only need to win primaries. The way the system is set up, all they need to do is win their primary. Nobody will run against them, in a red state as a Democrat and win. So all they need to do is become the Republican nominee in Georgia's 2nd district, and she's good. That's why they're wasting our time like this, okay? They're literally running for office 2 years from now.
Exactly.
It's so sad. It's just such a waste of our time and money and our faith and our hopes and our dreams that they're sitting there doing this.
Word. The people are seeing, I think, because a party divided against itself, as it clearly is and continuing to, cannot stand.
Yes. That's right. They are literally imploding on themselves, but we have to actually wait it out. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the sad truth. And it sucks really hard because we do have a group of people who are willing to take the full faith and credit of the United States hostage. And that would be a resounding disaster for every living thing
for the planet. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so,
we have to pay attention. We have to endure.
Yeah.
Somehow we shall.
Yeah.
And as ever, gorgeous girdles for everyone.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Mwah. Love you always.
Enjoy the Super Bowl. The gay Super Bowl's next month. Robin Mesa.
Hi, Randy. Hey, just 2 comments on the Hunter laptop thing. It's called chain of custody.
Yeah.
It seems like that laptop first was stolen and it's now been in their possession for how many years? So, I mean, they could have done anything to that hard drive at this point. So the evidence or anything they have on that is useless, and that's probably why they'll just keep hiding it. They just won't let anyone see it because they don't trust anyone.
It's so ridiculous. This whole thing is so ridiculous when you have Jared Kushner literally getting $2 billion.
Yep. I use that all the time.
And they have to sit there and pretend they don't know that, and that somehow, Burisma in Ukraine, which, is probably bombed down to the ground now, doesn't even exist anymore, and was investigated by the British authorities for corruption years ago, is something Americans have to pay attention to. What? I mean, it's so, but they just want to say Hunter Biden's laptop, Hunter Biden. You know why? There are horrible photographs that either were on that laptop but now are in public domain. Horrible photographs of a guy who, like so many of us, had a terrible drug addiction. You know what the beauty of it is? He's cleaned up now. He's okay. Celebrate that.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
I'm going to ask one last time before we go for the weekend to please do give $5 as a sustaining $5 a month donation to Free Speech TV today. I really appreciate it. It's 877-378-8669 is the phone number. The web address is freespeech.org, and the text information is 44321, and text the letters FSTV to 44321, and we'll send you a link. And thank you so much. Your $5 will go so far. You have no earthly idea how important and how special it is for you to do this. So thanks again. And, if I forget to tell you, I had a great weekend. I can't wait. Steve in Delaware.
Hi, Randy. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, we're sustaining donors.
Great. Thank you.
$25 a month.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Really happy to do it because we love all the people on Free Speech.
Oh, thank you. We love you too. Thank you.
Yeah, we're here in Delaware now for about 2.5 years. We moved from Texas, and we were trying to turn things around in Texas and be involved in the Democratic elections and stuff, and try to get Beto elected and try to get Dana Steele elected, but unsuccessful. But happy to be in a better place.
So far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, change takes a long, long time. There's no question. But efforts do not go unnoticed.
Yeah. We watch the show every day, and we love the little figures, bobbleheads or whatever they are, and we're just curious to know what the guy in the brown suit, who he is.
This one?
Yeah.
So that's Zelensky.
Oh, that's Zelensky. Okay.
Yeah. That's Voldemar Zelensky. That's obviously Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's not a bobblehead, but she's a figure.
Yeah, we got one of those.
Yeah, and then this is a very large. This one here is Kamala. This is AOC. This was a Christmas present from Brett this year. I got my new AOC. That, of course, Barack Obama. And believe it or not, a beautiful, beautiful listener out there. She just sent me. Her name's Shannon. Shannon just sent me, and she's probably looking at my desk going, where is it? I wrote to her that I did get it. Brett, you will love this. She sent me a figurine, okay, and I opened it, and then I just looked. I said, well, he's very handsome, but who is he? And then on the bottom I saw it's Sheldon Whitehouse. She sent me a Sheldon Whitehouse.
She has got good taste in politicians. That's amazing. He's our favorite at the show.
And I keep forgetting to bring him in, but I have him. I just wanted to tell her, give a shout out to Shannon.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Got a great name too.
Yeah, Sheldon Whitehouse. I love it. But
thanks for all that you do, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy it. And I'm not going to tell you who we're rooting for, but listen, it's causing countertops in my family. Yeah, because
between who?
Jessica hates the Eagles.
Why?
It's a rivalry with the Giants.
Oh, that's right. She's a Giants fan.
Right.
That is understandable then for Jessica.
Right. So I had to have the talk, as you do with your children, about how, listen, I shouldn't have been rooting for the Bills because of the Dolphins and that rivalry, but I was because of DeMar, and it was like, the greatest comeback, and wouldn't it have been the best, Cinderella story ever if the Bills would have prevailed over the Bengals? I mean, wouldn't that have been just beautiful? That would have been, like the Little Mermaid kind of a Disney ending, right? Well, it didn't happen. It did not. And so now we're,
This one's interesting because, anybody who's not affiliated with either of these teams, a lot of years there's an underdog.
Which is me. I'm not affiliated with either of these teams, right?
And usually there's an underdog going into the game, so we're like, hey, well, if I don't care either way, I want the underdog to win.
Right.
But both these teams are legit. So I feel like a lot of people are leaning towards Kansas City who wouldn't normally care because of the Mahomes injury. They feel like
didn't Mahomes just get MVP for the second time?
In 6 years.
Wow.
And very few people have done it twice that quickly in their career. I think two others. I think Kurt Warner and maybe one other. He is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, so, a lot of people are, going down the Kansas City thing, which is fine. It's fine. Listen, I just want you to know I actually do not care who wins. However, Brett has asked me, like, who would I be? And I said the Eagles only because we have somebody close to us who's from Philly. And wouldn't it be nice if she saw her home team prevail, since we have no connection to Kansas City at all. And yes, I love Mahomes. And yes, I think he's like awesome. And yes, he deserved, MVP. Yes, twice in 6 years. Yes, of course. But, it was just so, and I'm telling you, the amount of pushback I got from my own family was like, oh my God. And she's like, I hate them. Like, not, I can't root for them, or, I hate them. I was like, well, that's a conversation starter, isn't it?
I can respect that in a fan. A fan who hates all other teams and their own, I can respect that.
Okay, so speaking of hate, I got to tell you this story. This is unbelievable. This will be our last, probably our last story that we tell you today. So Donald Trump, of course, has to weigh in. Not on the Super Bowl. Oh, no. On halftime. Yeah. And he literally trashed Rihanna in one of his truth, which nobody sees, okay? See, like I said, the hearings now that are happening in the House, only the Fox News viewers are watching any of these hearings. And, their attention span is like as long as, the oxy lasts, and then they got to go take the next one, right? And I don't mean that they're drug. I mean, they're old. Really. So nobody is watching these hearings. I get it, but you need to know what's going on, which is why we clipped it for you. Okay. Nobody is reading Truth Social either, except for the sycophants, except for the choir. You talk about preaching to the choir. Okay, so apparently on Twitter, what's his name? Ronnie Jackson, the guy, the doctor, Ronnie Jackson, who proclaimed that Donald Trump was the most beautiful specimen of flesh he had ever laid eyes on as a physician, and that this man, even given the fact that he's like 90 pounds overweight and he's a pasty old white man with spray tan, and God only knows what's going on in that head of his, and, whether there's, lice involved. Ronnie Jackson tweeted something really nasty about Rihanna because Rihanna participated in some art project in Amarillo, Texas, where people spray paint crap. And she actually spray painted F Trump. Okay. And, Rihanna, just so you know, is the halftime entertainment this year. And she's awesome. Just so, for those of you who are old and pasty and have decided to check out and never listen to music ever again, why, I have no earthly idea. It's very good for you. She's the #2 best-selling female artist on the globe. I think Beyonce's #1. She's #2. Okay. This girl is immensely talented. She's freaking gorgeous. Okay. And she's got a very unique voice and really super talented. So Ronnie Jackson tweets some nasty crap about Rihanna because he can. And Donald Trump piles on it, and says, if it weren't for her stylist, seriously, if it weren't for Rihanna's stylist, she would have no career, no talent, bad. Now, proceed to eating your nachos, and proceed to eating your artichoke spinach dip, and proceed to eating your pulled pork sandwiches, hopefully with coleslaw on a really nice bun. But stick around for the halftime. Watch this girl, and then you tell me if she's a talentless woman who would have no career if it wasn't for her stylist, or if she's your new favorite thing. Just saying. She's also a Disney goddess. Okay, she just did the song for the last Disney movie, which, by the way, is ridiculously good. I wish I could play it, but we can't play music on this here show, which really sucks because I have extraordinary taste. But anyway, that's what Trump decided to weigh in on for the Super Bowl festivities.
I mean, it's consistent with his theme of being absolutely wrong about everything he says.
And ugly. And really ugly. And trying to steal people's joy. And trying to take away fun things. Like the NFL. Why? And this goes back to Killing County. Okay, this goes back to Colin Kaepernick. Which is why Rihanna has never done the Super Bowl show before. Okay? She wouldn't do the Super Bowl show because she wouldn't sell out the message that Colin Kaepernick was bringing to the NFL. And they had asked her to do it. I can't even tell you how many times. And she always said, no, why would I do that? Why would I enable the NFL when we're trying to send a message? How does this benefit my people? How does this benefit humanity? How does this benefit any decent people? No. But now she thought things were sort of okay. Biden's president. There's no more Trump. And this is what he does.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Some of my Republican friends want to take the economy hostage. I get it. Unless I agree to their economic plans. All of you at home should know what those plans are. Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you, I enjoy conversion. You know, it means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant, but it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you. Look, folks, the idea is that we're not going to be moved into being threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond.
Right. That was just wow. I mean, it couldn't get uglier if you had, like orangutans showing their, shiny red butt to the camera. That was ugly. That was fugly. That was just disgusting. They are out of control. They are crazy. They are lunatics. They are nasty. It's like, let's shout at a balloon. Oh, no, let's shout at Biden. Oh, no, let's shout at, Medicare. Oh, no, let's shout at... Listen, this is what Rick Scott's Rescue America plan called for. You remember that? They made like a ton of commercials out of Rick Scott's Rescue America plan, where he clearly said in the plan he wanted to sunset Medicare and Social Security and all federal programs. And if they were any good, why, they could vote them back in after 5 years. And some, like Lindsey Graham and others, said, oh, no, let's not do it every 5 years. Let's do it every year. Let's do it every year. Let's vote on Medicare and Social Security every year. Now, all of a sudden, I guess they understand that there are voters out there, lots of us, who would just show up in droves where normally maybe they wouldn't show up, but they would if you took away their Medicare or even look side-eyed at Medicare and Social Security. Now, yesterday I played you Mike Pence. Mike Pence didn't know anybody was listening to him, but, people have cell phones and stuff, and they were recording him saying, hey, listen, it's time to have the grown-up conversation. It's time that we talked about this in public. It's time that we actually said that Medicare and Social Security need to be privatized for future generations and da-da-da-da-da, right? I mean, so please spare me this outrage, this, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I mean, they're like howler monkeys in this way. Howler monkeys, in case you don't know, are the loudest animals in the forest. They are the loudest animals in the forest. And that is what they are like now. She, the MTG, the one who sees a conspiracy under every rock, the one who thinks that the balloon was going to kill us, and that for some strange reason, American intelligence didn't know what was in that balloon. For some strange reason, we don't have a deconfliction line to prevent World War III from breaking out over a stupid balloon. Okay, this is her expertise in the area of national security. This was her outrage. By the way, the fashion crime that was committed last night was not just on the Republican side. Okay, it was a bipartisan fashion crime. It was multiple crimes. I have to say, if Marjorie, that sweater that Marjorie Taylor Greene was wearing last night, I'm sure you've seen it by now. It's like an off-white, winter white, with a faux fur collar, I mean, with all the killing of animals that they're so supportive of, why faux? I don't even understand it. But I had that sweater about 15 years ago. There are still pictures of me on the internet floating around with me wearing that damn sweater, except mine wasn't faux. It was fox. It was a little baby fox, a dead fox around my neck. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Where's my red paint?
I'm telling you.
Somewhere.
Fur is murder! So anyway, I heard that. I don't wear fur anymore. I used to, though. And, quite frankly, the vegans are going to be peeved. They're going to be very upset with me. But I still wear leather. Anyway, that thing that she wore last night, okay, it was, it was hideous when I wore it. Can I just cop to that? It was ugly when I wore it. It was wrong when I wore it. But she's wearing it 15 years later and an off-white. But Kirsten Sinema, oh my God. I thought she was the balloon. She came as a yellow balloon. She came as, I don't know. Some of my friends were texting me going, does she think she's a butterfly? Does she think... She looked like she was, smuggling coffee filters. I mean, I didn't even understand here, I'll play you a very short clip here. She's in it. Watch.
It's also passed the Bipartisan Equality Act to ensure LGBTQ Americans, especially transgender young people, can live with safety and dignity. Our strength.
Oh, my God. Oh, hello. What is that? What is that there? She looked like, it's like the Flying Nun, except that the bonnet was on both sides instead of on the top of her head. I really thought she was going to take flight. I really did. And that's why a yellow balloon. It was just wow. And she's like the only one that stood up, right, for the LGBT protection.
Our strength is not just the example of our power, but the power of our example. Let's remember the world's watching.
Yes, it is. And they saw that dress, and they're like horrified, I have to say. But that was so fashion crimes were committed. But she was so ill-tempered. I mean, the Republican Party, did you hear the part about this part's not getting as much play as the Medicare Social Security part. Okay, because that is the third rail of politics. You cannot say that you want to sunset Social Security and Medicare. You can't say what Lindsey Graham said in June. I have to tell you, for 10 months they've been saying that Medicare is on the chopping block. For 10 months they've been saying it's going to go bankrupt. For 10 months they've been saying 60% of what we spend as a nation is on, entitlements, which means Medicare and Social Security, right? We need to make, mandatory spending. We need to move it into the discretionary column, which would give them permission to cut Medicare and Social. They've been saying this for 10 months. Now, all of a sudden, last night, we never said it. What is that? Lindsey Graham said in June that the Senate Budget Committee promises entitlement reform is a must. We cannot become Greece. And it will be a must if we control the Senate. The Senate candidates, at least 5 Republican candidates in the 7 most hotly contested Senate races, publicly endorsed cuts to Social Security and Medicare and or prescription drug reforms that we enacted to lower costs for seniors. The insulin, capping the insulin at $35, and also putting a cap on what seniors will have to come out of pocket to pay for prescription drugs. Now it's capped at $2,000, right? So they want to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. That's the piece of legislation that actually lowered the donut hole. Remember the donut hole? Well, we still have one. And there's this period in spending where insurance, the Medicare trust fund, stops paying for your prescription drugs, And then it used to be like you had to spend another $6,500 in order to get out of the donut hole and back to coverage. It was like this crazy, crazy thing. So now that's capped at $2,000. Well, they want to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. So that would put the donut hole back into play. So let's not pretend that they didn't want to and don't want to cut Medicare and Social Security. Mike Pence was saying yesterday he wanted to privatize it. Kevin McCarthy told Punchbowl News, which covers Congress pretty well, I would say, that in the debt limit fight, he signaled that Republicans will hold the debt limit hostage for policy changes. This is his quote, "You just can't continue down the path to keep spending and adding to the debt. And if people want to make a debt ceiling, just like anything else, there comes a point in time where, okay, we'll provide you more money, but you have to change your current spending behavior." And he wouldn't say that anything was off the table. Nothing was off the table.
Clear for takeoff. Why would anyone believe anything that a big corporation tells us? Corporate power.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Recently put out an 11-point plan to rescue America. Two of the big points of which are, quote, all Americans should pay some income tax to have skin in the game, even if a small amount. Currently, over half of Americans pay no income tax. It also says all federal legislation sunsets in 5 years. If a law is worth keeping, Congress can pass it again.
Right.
So that would raise taxes on half of Americans and potentially sunset programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security.
Right.
Why would you propose something like that in an election year?
Sure. Well, John, that's, of course, the Democrat talking points. It's a 11-step plan.
No, it's in the plan. It's in the plan.
But here's let's think about reality for a second. First of all, let's talk about Medicare.
But Senator, hang on.
John.
So it's not a Democratic talking point. It's in the plan.
Hello, Marge. Hello, Republican Party. It's in the plan. And also, it wasn't just Rick Scott. Okay, Skeletor over there. It wasn't just him trying to rob. It wasn't just him trying to steal the Social Security Trust Fund and move it to Wall Street. Okay, so they could charge you fees to manage your retirement money. No, it wasn't just about that. And it wasn't just about Rick Scott. And it wasn't just about Lindsey Graham. And it's not just, it was Mike Pence yesterday. It was Jim Jordan. It was Chip Roy, the Republican from Texas. It was House Minority Whip Steve Scalise from Los Angeles, from Louisiana. I mean, all of them piled on. And now, still to this minute, the Republican Study Committee, which, by the way, 75% of House Republicans are members of the Republican Study Committee, in their plan, which is separate and apart from Senator Rick Scott's Saving America plan, the House plan actually raises the retirement age to 70. To 70. So you got to go out there and you got to work when you're 68 and 69 and your back is broken or your feet don't work anymore. Your knees are broken. You know, they don't work. Just honest to God, these are some sick freaks. But they had to be, you know, like loud and out and proud about harassing the president of the United States of America because Mitch McConnell, who is the minority leader, oh, I love the sound of that, in the Senate, said Social Security reform and Medicare reform, whatever it is not part of the Republican plan this year for the Senate this year. Okay. And then you had, the douchey one last night who was sitting there shushing his caucus because he had promised before the State of the Union that his caucus, okay, that these lunatic fringy ones, that the Boberts and the Greens and the Biggs and the Gosars and the crazy one, that they would not be childish. He promised that they would not be. He had them under control. He had to talk with them. They gave him his, they gave their word to him that they weren't going to rip a speech. That's not what they were going to do. They were going to be well behaved.
We have a code of ethics of how we should portray ourselves, but also do our jobs, and that's exactly what we'll do. But we're not going to be childish games tearing up a speech.
We're not going to play childish games tearing up a speech. No, we're just going to yell at it. We're going to scream at it. We're going to call the president a liar. Oh, and by the way, when the president spoke about the fentanyl crisis in this country, somebody yelled out loud to him that the fentanyl crisis in this here country is Joe Biden's fault. I mean, this was so disgusting.
Fentanyl is killing more than 70,000 Americans a year. Big, you got it.
It's your fault.
So let's launch a major surge to stop fentanyl production and the sale and trafficking with more drug detection machines, inspection cargo, stop pills and powder at the border.
Oh,
working with couriers like FedEx to inspect more packages for drugs. Strong penalties to crack down on fentanyl trafficking.
Okay, so, you know, the Republicans are like screaming at Biden that it's his fault. It's his fault that United States citizens, swear to God, through legal crossings, legal ports of entry, are trafficking into this country fentanyl. It's Joe Biden's fault that American citizens are trafficking fentanyl through legal border crossings, which is the truth. Yesterday there was a hearing. I don't know how many people paid attention to yesterday's hearing. With Border Patrol testifying, et cetera, et cetera. But yesterday there was testimony that 90% of drug seizures happen at legal ports of crossing, legal ports, and that it's done by American citizens. Now think about it, okay, for a brief moment. If you were a drug dealer, if you were a Mexican drug dealer or any other country drug dealer, would you choose immigrants to carry your payload? Would you choose people who may or may not get into the United States, who are traveling with children or their elderly grandparents? Or would you choose American citizens who have no problem crossing the border? I will tell you that the drug dealers are choosing American citizens.
I've heard today a lot of conversation about fentanyl and drugs coming over the border. And one argument that I've heard is this false connection between asylum seekers and immigrants and the very serious fentanyl crisis that we actually is serious in our country and in our community. Now, Chief Modelin, you've made aware some of your comments earlier, but I want to note that the Nonpartisan Government Accountability Office has found that over 90% of fentanyl border seizures actually occur at legal border crossings, and that 91% of drug seizures are actually from U.S. citizens.
91%.
Now, this same study found that only 4% was from potentially removable immigrants. The percentage of all those arrested at Border Patrol who possess any fentanyl, according to the conservative institute, the Cato Institute, is actually 0.02%. And so the truth is that a vast majority of fentanyl is being smuggled by U.S. citizens at legal ports of entry.
There's the facts for you, everybody. But it's his fault. It's Joe Biden's fault, okay? It's Joe Biden's fault that 0.2% of people who are, trafficking in fentanyl are removable people, and that 91% of the people who traffic in the fentanyl to the United States are U.S. citizens. It's Joe Biden's fault. I mean, he was begging them, just give me money for border security. Just give me money for the legal ports of entry. Just give me money to inspect trucks. Just give me money to inspect. Let's do our job. Let's do it. No, it's your fault. It's your fault because they love to blame anybody for what they won't do. And the reason why we don't have the kind of border that looks orderly and neat and not is because they will not do comprehensive immigration reform. And Joe Biden begged them last night. He begged them. Let's do comprehensive immigration reform. And if you don't want to do anything on the Dreamers, if you don't want to, these people who can't even have a traffic ticket in order to get a path to citizenship, but who have been here their entire lives and know no other country but the United States, who were brought here as children, if you don't want to give them a path to citizenship, at least give me the money to secure the border. At least give me the money to hire, more inspection teams, more border patrol. They will never do it. They love this issue. They love to caravans and invasions.
Call in, Connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Medicare is going bankrupt. Social Security is going bankrupt. Here's what the Democrats did. They just cut $280 billion. Every Democrat that's running right now in the Senate, okay, and those in the House, they all voted to cut $280 billion out of Medicare, which is going to cut life-saving drugs.
Oh, my God.
They did this.
You know, you're doing a math. You're playing a math game. You are playing a math game there, Senator.
He didn't pay his taxes.
Senator, you're playing a math game here. You're playing a math game. They didn't cut anything on Medicare. It's cost savings having to do with the prescription drug benefit.
Right.
Look, I understand that you want to call it something else, but
Chuck, if you cut spending in Medicare, it's probably going to impact the ability for somebody to provide things. When you cut out $280 billion, there's a life-saving drug that your mom will not get. That's what's going to happen.
All right, I will remember this. When you guys claim a Medicare cut isn't a cut.
$280 billion out of Medicare reduction is going to cut life-saving drugs. That's bad for citizens. It's real simple.
Oh, my God. So we saved the Medicare Trust Fund $280 billion by negotiating the cost that seniors will pay for prescription drugs. We saved Medicare $280 billion. And they, Rick Scott and his ilk, and the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, and the Andy Biggs and the Jim Jordans and the Chip Roy. You know Chip Roy, Chip Roy from Texas. He was Ted Cruz's chief of staff. Okay, this is like such an inside game. This is the revolving door of crazy, right? Anyway, they are the ones that characterize saving what they call the bankrupt, going insolvent Medicare Trust Fund, saving it $280 billion by lowering the cost it pays for prescription drugs, a cut in Medicare benefits. That is sick. That is sad. That is who they are. This is crazy. This is not normal. This is who they are. They just find ways to lie to American seniors. They just find ways to lie to people who get Medicare, to people who might qualify for Social Security benefits, whether they're widows, orphans, or seniors, or disabled people. They lie to them constantly about, don't count on it for too long because it's going bankrupt. And then when we come along and say, we could save almost $300 billion from being paid out if we just negotiate the cost of these drugs. We pay the most in the world for prescription drugs in America. We literally invent them. We suffer through the marketing commercials, and then we pay the most on the back end. So we negotiated what Medicare would pay for prescription drugs. And these pikers come along and characterize it as a cut. Okay, as a cut. And then when you actually explore like what's going on in this country with fentanyl, which is a deadly, disgusting additive that drug dealers are using to cut heroin, or to cut cocaine, or to cut hard drugs, right? So that they can make more on the sale of less, right? And we find out through congressional hearings, which you would think the House of Representatives who had these hearings yesterday would have known what Border Patrol testified to yesterday, and that is that 91% of the carriers of deadly fentanyl into this country are American citizens. That 90% of all the fentanyl that comes into this country is not coming in over the Rio Grande with asylum seekers. It's coming in through legal ports of entry, like in California. Okay? I mean, it's your fault. That's what the crazy people yelled at him. It's your freaking fault. It's your fault. Kevin McCarthy was trying to present himself as some sort of I'll just say an adult in the room. I mean, everyone who knows anything about Kevin McCarthy, anything at all, they know what, I'll just say, his reputation is. And his reputation is he's very, very stupid. His reputation is that he's the dumbest member of the House of Representatives, which is saying a lot when you look at the crazy people in the House of Representatives. But they're saying that he believes in absolutely nothing at all. He has no red lines. He has nothing he wouldn't be for if it benefited him. He has nothing he'd be against if it benefited him. He has no ideology. He has no, red line. He has nothing at all. No principles, no character. And on top of it, he's stupid. He's stupid. And he was trying to look like the adult in the room, shushing Marjorie Taylor Greene last night.
Investing in American innovation and industries will define the
watch
future
this.
that China intends to be dominating. Investing in our alliances.
Shh. Because she was yelling out about a balloon, okay? She was yelling at it. But the balloon. As if we don't have reconnaissance. We didn't put AWACS planes up there. We didn't have F-22 Raptors up there looking at it, taking photos of it, understanding what it was, whether or not it had any kind of ammunition as a payload, let alone nuclear or payloads of, bad thing. She just, lied and told everybody that would follow her on whatever platform she goes on now. That the balloon was really, it was World War III stuff. It was dangerous. It was, it was a call to action. Okay, these are the people that the anti-war right, swear to God, and the anti-war left, okay, are supportive of because they think that the new Republicans are anti-war. They're not anti-war. They wanted to start World War III.
Americans aren't stupid. We realize that Chinese spy balloon could have delivered something deadly to the American people. It was a great risk to our national security, and they invaded our airspace. That balloon could have contained a bioweapon, a virus. It could have contained a nuclear bomb, an EMP. It could have done God knows what. But President Biden allowed that to happen. He proved to the world, he proved to the American people, they aren't capable of making decisive decisions. They're actually impotent and incapable of it. And then he just needs to apologize and explain to the American people instead of making excuses.
This is a woman who hates her job. She's miserable in her job, which is good because we're miserable that she's in her job too. So, but this is her saying that this was cause for World War III. Now, we learned, she hasn't learned, but it's out there, it's public, everybody can learn, that there were 3 balloons that transited the United States from Hawaii to Florida in the previous administration. And they didn't, meaning the people who, are charged with protecting the skies, they didn't tell Donald Trump for whatever reason. Either they didn't tell him because they were afraid that he would start World War III, or they didn't tell him because it wasn't anything that we needed to worry about. I don't know. But they didn't tell him. There was a lot of stuff that they didn't tell Donald Trump because they thought, A, he would mess it up, B, he would over-respond, B, he would do nothing when he needed to do something, and so they would just handle crap on their own. But, I mean, this idea that, we should have started World War III over a balloon, and then she marched down the hallways in Congress, I don't know, thinking she was trolling somebody, with a big white balloon, a big white, helium balloon. And she marched down the hallway, where apparently only Congress members and staffers are, in order to be filmed with a white balloon.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Oh, here's Marge, all concerned about the national security of the United States of America with her balloon trolling, Congress members and staffers as she makes her way down the hallway there in her sneakers with her white balloon. You see? See how fierce she is? Do you see how terrified, China would be of her? This is her. This is her, doing her daily work that takes her away from home to the point where she needs to be around normal people, she says. She needs to get out of Washington and be around normal people. I mean, we haven't even gotten to George Santos yet, okay? People yelling at Joe Biden last night, yelling at him. We don't want to cut Medicare. You're a liar. When clearly they have been, for the last 10 months, threatening to cut benefits for Medicare, Social Security, raise the age for qualification for Social Security, raise the age for Medicare. Yesterday, I played you a little clip. It's bad audio. That's the only reason why I don't want to play it. so much. I'll just play you the beginning of it. But it's very bad audio. Mike Pence sitting there thinking nobody was recording anything he said as he spoke to the wholesalers of America at their convention, saying, hey, listen, you know, we have to get rid of Social Security. We have to get rid of Medicare. We spend 70% of everything that we spend is on that, you know.
70% of what we spend at the national level is on entitlements. And the truth is, we've got to have a conversation. I was a part of it when George W. Bush proposed Social Security reform in 2005. The time has come for us to have the kind of leadership that says to everyone that's got hair the same color as me, nothing's going to change for you. But to give younger Americans better choices that would also be better for the country.
Yeah, he's talking about privatization of Social Security and Medicare and giving it to Wall Street, and then you could pay fees. You could pay fees on it, and then you know, you could pay capital gains tax on it when you take it out or what. I don't know. I mean, this is what their wet dream is, to give their Wall Street donors, their hedge fund fellas, their people that pay no taxes at all, to give them all of our money to manage for a fee. I mean, and here's Biden actually saying, listen, everyone knows the tax system in this here country is not fair. Okay, he knows. Everybody understands that teachers pay more in taxes than billionaires do, and that's just wrong. And that when people, got money, from the Paycheck Protection Program or from the COVID or from the Rescue America, what did they use it for? What do they use it? They use it for stock buybacks. And in order to stop that behavior, you have to tax what you don't want more of. So he proposed last night quadrupling the tax on stock buybacks. Okay? Oh my God, the Republicans, I mean, everything that he brought up that had anything to do with tax fairness, anything that he brought up that had anything to do with, teachers paying more than billion, they just sat there on their thumbs. They just would not, agree that teachers shouldn't pay more than billionaire. I mean,
we have to reward work, not just wealth. Pass my proposal for the billionaire minimum tax. There's 1,000 billionaires in America. It's up from about 600 in the beginning of the term. But no billionaire should be paying a lower tax rate than a school teacher or firefighter. I mean it. Think about it.
Look how they sit. They just sit. No, let teachers pay more than billionaires. Let them have it. Hit them right between the eyes. We hate teachers. We hate public school. We don't give a damn about them. All right. And then he's like, listen, let's talk about the stock buyback. Let's talk about what they do with their money. You said it would trickle down to ordinary people if we gave them all this money. No, it's not trickling down. Okay. The most profitable corporations don't invest in America. They don't invest in making things cheaper for Americans. They buy their own stock back.
Have you noticed Big Oil just reported its profits, record profits? Last year they made $200 billion.
Oh my God.
In the midst of a global energy crisis. I think it's outrageous. Why? They invested too little of that profit to increase domestic production.
Right.
And when I talked to a couple of them, they say, we're afraid you're going to shut down all the oil wells, all the oil refineries anyway, so why should we invest in them? I said, we're going to need oil for at least another decade. And that's going to exceed and beyond that. We're going to need it. Production. If they had, in fact, invested in the production to keep gas prices down, instead, they used the record profits to buy back their own stock.
Yep.
Rewarding the CEOs and shareholders. Corporations ought to do the right thing. That's why I propose we quadruple the tax on corporate stock buybacks and encourage long-term investments. They'll still make considerable profit. Let's finish the job and close the loopholes that allow very wealthy to avoid paying their taxes. Instead of cutting the number of audits for wealthy taxpayers, I just signed a law to reduce the deficit by $114 billion by cracking down on wealthy tax cheats. That's being fiscally responsible.
Oh, look, and there was Manchin looking around going, do I applaud this or do I not applaud this? I don't know. Let me see
that
what
was 100% what was going on.
Yeah,
He's
like looking around. Do I applaud that or do I not applaud? I don't know if I applaud that. Do I applaud that? I don't know. All right, I'll give a small applause and then I'll sit. I mean, obviously, they did not, big oil, big gas, okay, they did not invest in domestic production, even though they have 9,000 leases that they don't even drill on. They don't even use them, okay? And he's saying no. And here they are making $200 billion in profits when people were paying $5 a gallon for gas, okay? Right? And what did they use their profit for? Did they use their profit to bring down the price of oil and gas by opening up some drilling or by investing in oil production in the United States or whatever? No, they bought their stocks back, right? And we subsidize them on the front end, and then we don't tax them on the back end. I mean, this is quite a gig if you can get it. And so he's like, listen, I have no problem if they're willing to invest long term, okay? I have no problem at all. We'll subsidize them. We'll give them a tax break for that. But in order to get them to do that, we have to quadruple the tax on stock buybacks. This is all they understand. And these idiots, these Republicans are sitting there going, no, let them do what they want. Let them charge people $5 a gallon. Let them charge $7 a gallon. Who cares about the American people? I mean, it's so sick when you see them literally reacting to solutions to difficult problems in this way, in this manner. And then, I don't know if you even saw this or not. I don't, because, LeBron was very busy setting records last night. Congratulations. It was awesome. But, the idea that a lot of solutions were put forward last night, you don't have to agree with them, you don't have to, but that they booed them and that they yelled at him and told him, this is all your fault. What you're doing is making things bad. I mean, it's incredible. It's an amazingly freaky thing, because here we have the infrastructure package that was passed where people are starting to see 2,800 bridges get worked on, get rebuilt, get refurbished. And then he makes a proposal last night, and he says, "Listen, you want America first? I'll show you America first. We're going to pass a regulation. We're going to pass that says that every single federal infrastructure project, every single one, has to be built using materials made in America."
Buy America has been the law since 1933, but for too long, past administrations, Democrat and Republican, have fought to get around it.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Tonight, I'm announcing new standards that require all construction materials used in federal infrastructure projects to be made in America. Made in America. I mean it. Lumber, glass, drywall, fiber optic cable. And on my watch, American roads, bridges, and American highways are going to be made with American products as well.
Oh, that sucks. And you don't even need legislation for that, because it's already been legislated since, he said, 1933. I'll take his word for it. But yes, they get around it. They say, well, if parts of this are made in America, then we can say it's made in America. If 15% of it's made in America, then we can say that this is made in America. He's like, no, we're not getting around it anymore. Any federal infrastructure project funded with federal dollars has now got to use materials from the glass they use to the fiber optic cable that they lay to the drywall that they hang, whatever it is, it has to be materials made in America. They can't even get excited about that, because America first to them means Nazi. America first to them means what Lindbergh thought it meant. Okay? Let the fascists do what they want. Let them trot around the globe. Let them spread their evil ideology all around the globe. America first. That's what Lindbergh meant when he said America first. It's what they mean when they say America first. They don't mean make it in America. They don't mean build it in America. They don't mean support Americans. They don't mean educate Americans. They don't need Americans that get freedom. No, half of this country, they don't want free. Half of this country should be involuntarily serving men. Involuntary servitude. And then you had Sarah Honey Boo Boo give the rebuttal Oh, my God.
Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream. Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Good evening.
Hi.
I'm Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Ew.
Being a mom to 3 young children taught me not to believe every story I hear. So forgive me for not believing much of anything I heard tonight from President Biden.
What?
From out-of-control inflation and violent crime to the dangerous border crisis and threat from China. Biden and the Democrats have failed you. They know it, and you know it. And it's time for a change.
Oh, my God. Okay, so Crazy Eyes Sarah Honey Boo Boo over there just called her children a liar. Her children are liars. Everybody lies to her, even her children. And being a mom to young children has taught her not to believe anything they say or anything Joe Biden says. I don't know. Mom, some guy touched me. Oh, shut up. Now, here's the dirty little secret. This was put in the can, excuse me, before the speech. She had no idea what Joe Biden was going to say. She had no idea that Biden was going to talk about, a quadrupling of the stock buyback tax. She had no idea that Biden was going to talk about Made in America for federal funded infrastructure projects, that all materials that are going to be used for federal infrastructure projects must be made in America. Okay. She had no idea that Biden was going to negotiate in public, to get the Republicans to say out loud that they would never cut Social Security, because that's what he got out of them last night. Okay. In their ugly, disgusting, disruptive, devious, aggressive, loud way, he got the Republicans to agree with him that any default on the deficit would not be tied to cuts in Medicare and or Social Security or any entitlement. Okay? That's what he got out of them last night with their ugly own behavior, right? They acted like crazy people because they are crazy people. And he knew that they would act like crazy people, which is why he did that last night. It's why he got them to scream and yell and howl at the moon when he said, you want to cut Medicare or Social Security or both and tie it to the debt ceiling. And I just want you to know that ain't going to happen. Well, they just screamed at him and yelled at him, you liar, you lie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, because they're idiots. They negotiated the whole thing in public last night. Well, good for Joe. Good for Joe. But they looked crazy. And Sarah had no earthly idea what was going to happen. Hence this.
Whether Joe Biden believes this madness or is simply too weak to resist it, his administration has been completely hijacked by the radical left. The dividing line in America is no longer between right or left. The choice is between normal or crazy.
I actually agree with that. I just not in the way she thinks.
Right. I mean, she showed us who was crazy, and she showed us who the adults in the room were. I mean, she did. Joe Biden did. The Republican Party did. The Republican Party played right into Joe Biden's hands. An idiot girl had put this, rebuttal in the can before she knew that they were going to show themselves to be bat crap. And then told us that the choice in America is between normal and crazy. And it is, Sarah. It is. Join the normal people. I mean, it was so mistimed. It was so ill-conceived. And nobody stopped it because why should she do it again? Why should she waste her time putting on, makeup and an outfit and sit in the governor's mansion in front of an unlit fireplace? To give the rebuttal to the State of the Union when she already did one. Well, Sarah, I mean, you might want to see this. You might want to, see. They acted like a bunch of howler monkeys. They acted like a bunch of untamed orangutans, okay? They were back crap crazy. They were screaming at him that fentanyl was his problem. They were screaming at him that they didn't want to cut Medicare, that they don't want to do anything on entitlements. They were like literally yelling at him about it's okay that secretaries pay more, that firefighters pay more, that school teachers pay more than billionaires do. And he announced a Made in America plan for all federally funded infrastructure projects. And there are thousands of them now because they passed the largest infrastructure bill in the history of modern America. We haven't invested in ourselves like that since Dwight David Eisenhower. You might want to rethink what you said there. No, I'm good. I'm good. Then she actually said that the left is involved in a culture war, which just blows my mind. The left is involved in a culture war. Okay, they're the ones that want to put half of the population into involuntary servitude. Okay, they're the ones that are shopping around for a friendly judge, and they found one in Amarillo, Texas, believe it or not, to ban the abortion, the medical abortion, the pill. It's a 2-stage pill. They want to ban the first course of treatment that 54% of women use. Rather than go through a medical procedure, they use this I can't say it, mifepristone. And so these crazy wackadoos in our country went judge shopping, and they found one of the most conservative Trump guys that they could find sitting on a district court in Amarillo, Texas. And so they brought the case to him in Amarillo, Texas, asking him in Amarillo to ban nationwide the use of this mifepristone or whatever it is, okay? Now, if this judge actually rules for them and says that this particular pill, even though it's been used for 22 years in this country, 22, yeah, even though it went through a normal FDA process in order to get on the marketplace 22 years ago, even though there have been studies about its effectiveness and safety for 22 years, and it always comes back being efficacious and safe, right? They want to ban it. And so if this federal judge actually says you can't, the FDA was wrong in authorizing this pill, and the FDA shouldn't have the authority to authorize medicine, what? We could actually see a ban of this pill in America in all 50 states. Just so you know, they're not even close to being done. And she says that we're involved in some war.
The Biden administration seems more interested in woke fantasies than the hard reality Americans face every day.
What?
Most Americans simply want to live their lives in freedom and peace.
Yes.
But we are under attack in a left-wing culture war we didn't start and never wanted to fight.
What?
Every day we are told we must partake in their rituals, salute their flags, and worship their false idols.
What?
All while big government colludes with big tech to strip away the most American thing there is, your freedom of speech.
Okay, big tech is private, and if they have rules of the road for their platforms, then that is what private business gets to do, Miss Capitalist. Okay? That is not a culture war. And if you're so worried about freedom, why are you saying that half the population has to be involved in involuntary servitude? Why are you saying that an FDA-approved drug that's been on the market for 22 years shouldn't be available for women to safely take? I just don't even understand it. And also, Texas is suing the Biden administration because the Biden administration is asking pharmacies to go ahead and prescribe this pill, fill the prescription. Well, they don't want women to be able to get their prescription filled. If they don't like what women are taking, they don't think that you should be able to get your prescription filled at the Walgreens or the CVS. And that is really what they're doing. Currently in America, just so you know the number, it's frightening. 26 million women live currently in states that have banned abortion.
all things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randi Rhodes Show.
Here in the People's House, it's our duty to protect all the people's rights and freedoms. Congress must restore the right and the... Congress must restore the right that was taken away in Roe v. Wade and protect Roe v. Wade. Give every woman a constitutional right. The Vice President and I are doing everything to protect access to reproductive health care and safeguard patient safety. But already more than a dozen states are enforcing extreme abortion bans. Make no mistake about it. If Congress passes a national ban, I will veto it.
I mean, they just couldn't stop yelling at him. They couldn't control their crazy asses. They just couldn't control their freaking mouths. They couldn't control themselves. And then she actually gets on doing the rebuttal saying the choice is between normal and crazy. Yes, Sarah. Yes, it is. And if the choice is between truth-telling and lying, you lose. You lose so hard. Oh, my God. You lied from that podium without shame. I mean, at least Kayleigh McEnany looked like they're not really going to believe this, are they? At least Sean Spicer, said nobody's going to believe any of this, right? I mean, I'm a hired hand. No, but she was a true sycophant, okay? She was a true believer in lying to people. And now she's in Arkansas, and she thinks the most important thing that she could do for Arkansans is to ban something that isn't even taught in schools from being taught in schools. Critical race theory. And attack drag, which has been with us since the beginning of time. Somehow drag is the problem. Somehow drag and drag queens are the reason why people in Arkansas use fentanyl or can't get a job besides for Walmart. You know what I'm saying? It's so unbelievable. So here you have a crazy liar standing on the TV saying that we are involved in some culture war when she is banning things that aren't even taught in school from being taught in school. They're very busy banning books. They're terrified of books and the ideas in them. And now they want to ban the pill and mifepristone, which, is it's been on the market for 22 years and 54%. Oh, it's my phone. Siri, stop it. Nick in Mississippi.
Hi, how you doing?
All right.
That's good. I watched Honey Boo Boo, and I almost slipped my wrist. So, I just can't take liars.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, just tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Right.
Like, tell us what your ideas are. And your ideas are, we're going to ban drag queens, we're going to ban books, we're going to ban the pill, we don't want you on contraception, and here's the reason why. Because the white birth rate is low, and we need more white babies, okay? In order for us to be the majority going forward into the future, we need more white babies being born, and therefore, we're not going to allow white women to have abortions. Just say the truth.
Now, speaking of babies and what have you, I called about the yellow dress.
Oh, Kirsten Sinema's fashion crime?
Yeah. Do you know where that dress is from?
No, but she should give it back.
Yeah, I, if they didn't demand they burn it. Remember Patti LaBelle, the group The LaBelle, 74, 75?
Yeah.
Look at the old film clips of them when they seen Lady Marmalade.
Nick.
One of the girls had the same dress.
Okay, first of all, Brett, can you make the phone a little less loud? Nick, that was a costume.
I know. That's what they wore.
So that was a costume. That was So what are you saying? That Kirsten Sinema took her fashion cues from Patti LaBelle's 1974 disco days? Okay.
She You may as well have.
I'm there. I'm cool. I got it. Return that damn dress to whoever made it, because she really did look like she was smuggling coffee filters, okay? I just couldn't understand that fashion. But, you know, you do have these people in Congress that are so self-centered that it's all about look at me, look at me. And that's why Marge was loud and screaming in her faux fur. And Kirsten was wearing a bright yellow Patti LaBelle a la 1974 disco costume.
And, you know, the funny part about it is she probably told whoever made the darn thing, hey, you know, I want something that's way out. Make this for me, you know. Make the shows way out and what have you.
I don't think so. I think whoever made it for her put it on her and said, oh, this on you. This is
just you.
This is fabulous. This is not everybody can rock this dress, but you're rocking it. I'm telling you, on you, this works. No one else can. And she believes them. And these are the people that are making decisions for us, okay?
Yeah, can you imagine the Taylor being a deceitful queen?
But remember, remember that these are the people that want to ban bear arms, okay? These are the people that have a lot to say. Not Kirsten Sinema so much as Marjorie Taylor Greene, because Kirsten Sinema will wear a halter top to meet the President of the United States. We all know that. She goes sleeveless in, 2-degree weather. But the Republicans who say that the left is waging some culture war, they're the ones that want to pass judgment on whether or not a woman can show her shoulder at work, or whether or not a woman can show her elbow or her ankle at work. These are the people that are accusing us of waging a culture war. On the other hand, Kirsten Sinema is wearing clothes that actually make it look like we need legislation. Just saying. Brenda in Texas.
Hey, hello, fellow veteran. How are you?
Good.
Love your show. I think last night's events are a good example of the big difference between Democratic and Republican women. Democratic women look and act decent and professional, while the Republican women act like vile, disrespectful, grandstanding liars.
No.
What do you think?
No, I'm saying no. I've been saying no since you started that, compare and contrast experiment. That is not right.
I know, but it's not all of them. You know, Kay Bailey Hutchinson from Texas, she was okay. I didn't agree with everything she did. And there was also...
Kay Ivey is a normal-looking grandma, okay? And she's back crap, so it has nothing to do with it. I mean, Rosa DeLauro has purple hair. Kirsten Sinema, looked like she was, recreating Patti LaBelle's 1974 disco costume. So that doesn't work. That doesn't work. But the problem is that the Republican women think they know how a woman should dress, and then they show up like that. And Democratic women are against Republican women telling them how to dress, and then they show up like that. That's the problem. This is not one's better than the other. This is like they're both creating problems we don't need right now.
Connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
We have an obligation to make sure all people are safe. Public safety depends on public trust, as all of us know. But too often that trust is violated. Joining us tonight are the parents of Tyree Nichols. Welcome. We had to bury Tyree last week. As many of you personally know, there's no words to describe the heartache or grief of losing a child. But imagine if you lost that child at the hands of the law.
Hi.
Imagine having to worry whether your son or daughter came home from walking down the street, playing in the park, or just driving a car. Most of us in here have never had to have the talk the talk that brown and black parents have had to have with their children. Bo, Hunter, Ashley, my children. I never had to have the talk with them. I never had to tell them if a police officer pulls you over, turn your interior lights on right away. Don't reach for your license. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Imagine having to worry like that every single time your kid got in a car. Here's what Tyree's mother shared with me when I spoke to her. When I asked her how she finds the courage to carry on and speak out. With the faith of God, she said her son was, quote, a beautiful soul, and something good will come of this. Imagine how much courage and carry that takes. It's up to us, to all of us. We all want the same thing. Neighborhoods free of violence. Law enforcement who earns the community's trust. Just as every cop, when they pin on that badge in the morning, has a right to be able to go home at night, so does everybody else out there. Our children have a right to come home safely.
Mild applause from the right wing about children having the right to safety and police officers being able to come home at night as well. I don't know how Tyree's parents, Rovan and her husband, I think his name's Ronald. I don't know how they do this. I don't know how people, keep going after not only losing their 29-year-old son for no good reason, but to law enforcement who are supposed to be the ones that are keeping us safe. I mean, it rocks your soul to think about the kind of resilience, grace, excellence, character, a belief, faith that it would take for somebody to continue on being decent after something like that. And then you look at Republicans who have nothing to bellyache about, nothing to complain about, nothing to worry about, nothing bad is going on. They just got reelected, these people that were assembled there. And all they thought to do was scream and yell at the president of the United States. And then before that, scream and yell at a balloon. I mean, it's so spoiled. It's so obvious how privileged they believe they are. It's so obvious that they need to be the center of the universe at all times, every day, no matter what. That even if they lie, cheat, steal, whatever it is, and they're protecting the right to lie, cheat, and steal, they're going to say they're superior to those of us who don't want to lie, cheat, and steal, and that whatever they do in order to protect their right to lie, cheat, and steal is a superior way to live a life than people who are graceful, faithful, believe in change, believe that everything happens for a reason, including the loss of their son at the hands of law enforcement. And it's not a new thing. It's a repeating thing. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you saw this, but I don't even want to put fuel on this fire because this fire burns, man. It burns. It doesn't need any fuel. But 5 of the police officers, 7 more are also being separated from the Memphis Police Department, but 5 of them literally took photographs of Tyree's beaten and bloodied body and text messaged it to their friends. And, Republicans would say that, there's no obligation not to do something like that. There's no obligation to have character. There's no obligation to treat people, as you would like to be treated. But they're Christians, Listen, this is so far away from what real Christianity is. And if you want to see what it really looks like, smells like, sounds like, tastes like, if you want to see how people comport themselves when they really do believe in something bigger than themselves, something holy, something, different than, what Sarah Huckabee, would get on the TV and call her children liars just to make a point. Look at the families that have lost their loved ones to law enforcement, even though their family members were doing nothing wrong and were unarmed and were still brutalized. That's real grace. I don't think I have it. I just don't. I don't. But they do. They do. And then, you know, he said, listen, I got to tell you, this thing about assault weapons, that's got to be talked about, too. Because one of his guests, the Nichols, well, they're not the Nichols, but another one of his guests was this person from the dance hall who was able, without a gun, to disarm a bad man with an assault weapon at the dance hall, at the ballroom, right?
Brandon now works at the dance studio started by his grandparents. And 2 weeks ago, during the Lunar New Year celebrations, he heard the studio door close, and he saw a man standing there pointing a semi-automatic pistol at him. He thought he was going to die, but he thought about the people inside. And in that instant, he found the courage to act and wrestled a semi-automatic pistol away from the gunman who had already killed 11 people in another dance studio. 11. He saved lives. It's time we do the same. Ban assault weapons now. Ban them now. Once and for all.
Look at Lauren.
I led the fight to do that in 1994. In 10 years, that ban was law, mass shootings went down. After we let it expire in the Republican administration, mass shootings tripled. Let's finish the job and ban these assault weapons.
But they want to, see, they like complaining about crime. They like screaming about crime. They like saying that Biden is the reason we have crime. Biden is the reason why we have fentanyl. Biden is the reason why we have murder. Biden is the reason, whatever. Here we are trying to solve problems, okay, and solutions that have been tried and have shown to reduce mass shootings by 33%. They sit there and they shake their head. Oh no, oh no. See, I got my little assault weapons pin on, and oh no. You're not gonna tell me that I'm saving lives by banning lunatic fringy people from having assault weapons. No, 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 that can't happen. They're not interested in saving lives. This pro-life thing with the pro-gun thing, they can't live together in the same head.
Clear for takeoff. Speak with Randy. Dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
My fellow Americans, we meet tonight at an inflection point. One of those moments that only a few generations ever face, where the direction we now take is going to decide the course of this nation for decades to come. We're not bystanders of history. We're not powerless before the forces that confront us. It's within our power of we the people. We're facing the test of our time. We have to be the nation we've always been at our best. Optimistic, hopeful, forward-looking. A nation that embraces light over dark, hope over fear, unity over division, stability over chaos. We have to see each other not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. We're good people. The only nation in the world built on an idea, the only one. Other nations are defined by geography, ethnicity. But we're the only nation based on an idea that all of us, every one of us, is created equal in the image of God. A nation that stands as a beacon of the world. A nation in a new age of possibilities. So I've come to fulfill my constitutional obligation to report in the State of the Union. And here's my report. Because the soul of this nation is strong, because the backbone of this nation is strong, because the people of this nation are strong, the State of the Union is strong. I'm not new to this place. I stand here tonight having served as long as about any one of you have ever served here. But I've never been more optimistic about our future, about the future of America. We just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
I liked it. I have to tell you, I thought he did really well. I thought that the message was, hopeful, that it was a we're good people kind of a message. I mean, he said over and over again, we should be able to work together. We've worked together before. We are good people. America is full of strong people, good people. The backbone of America is its people. We need to build from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. Fairness is such a recurring theme with him. Decency, fairness, bipartisan. Does anybody in this audience, no matter how much you hate Joe Biden because he stutters or he fumfers or because you think he's too old, although Trump is not too old and they're about the same age, I don't know. But is there anyone in this audience that doesn't believe that Joe Biden would work with anybody, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of what state they're from, regardless of who they are and who they represent, if it meant doing the right thing for the middle class, if it meant lowering, raising taxes on a handful of billionaires in this country in order to preserve and protect the middle class of this country. Is there anyone in this audience that thinks he wouldn't work with somebody from the other party? Donald Trump, on the other hand, would shiv people in his own party who don't think that he has a right to steal, or don't think that he has the right to take documents home, or don't think that he had the right to cover his buildings in Chinese glass while screaming about China. Joe Biden is a lot of things that you might not love, meaning he's not a con man. And you might love a con man because the entertainment value is sort of priceless. But Joe Biden would work with anybody from any party, from any part of this country, if he thought they would help him solve a problem of police brutality. Or if they would help him, he'd work with Tim Scott. Okay, Tim Scott didn't want to do qualified immunity. And that's the whole ballgame. Why? Because qualified immunity means that Tyree's parents, George Floyd's parents, could sue the police officers who done it to them. And Tim Scott wouldn't do it. He wouldn't make that deal. But Joe Biden would work with anybody if it meant fairness in prices of insulin. Okay. He actually said, hey, listen, I just want you guys to know, we capped the price of insulin. Big Pharma's still going to do fine. They're still going to do well. Okay. Just wrap your brain around that one.
We capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors on Medicare.
Yay.
People are just finding out.
Look, they won't even stand up for that.
I'm sure you're getting the same calls I'm getting. Look, there are millions of other Americans who do not or are not on Medicare, including 200,000 young people with type 1 diabetes who need this insulin to stay alive. Let's finish the job this time. Let's cap the cost of insulin for everybody at $35. Folks, and Big Pharma's still going to do very well, I promise you all. I promise you they're going to do very well.
Now, if they were interested in solving the problem of fentanyl or drug addiction or any of the things that plague this nation, they wouldn't be so pro-Big Pharma in the first place. In the second place, if they were really about their constituents, if they were really about people who, eat processed foods or who are, suffering from, no fault of their own, type 1 diabetes, okay? They would want to lower the cost of insulin to $35. It's a 100-year-old drug. The idea that a 100-year-old drug can still cost $1,000 a month, and it's a life-saving drug, is bizarre. It is such a gift to their pharmaceutical masters, okay, who have poisoned so many Americans at this point. And now they're gouging them. And they can't even applaud for that. They can't even applaud to a solution to bring down the cost of a 100-year-old drug. Can't even do that. I just, for the life of me, they showed you exactly what they're about last night. They're about aggression. They're about shouting at the rain. And if the rain ain't there, then they'll shout at a balloon. And if the balloon isn't there anymore, they'll shout at Biden. And if Biden's not there anymore, they'll shout at each other. They'll shout at each other. Did you see Mitt Romney and George Santos? Okay, they're of the same party. And Mitt Romney told George Santos, we didn't really know what was being said. We had to depend on like lip reading. But Mitt Romney apparently told George Santos, you should be embarrassed, right? And told him that he should sit in the back because he's under an ethics investigation. And why is he sitting on the aisle trying to get photographs taken with the President of the United States, right? So there's this here. Now, there's no audio, but you could read the lips. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. Sit in the back. And then George says something to Mitt, and we don't know what it is. Now, I will tell you, if you've never heard of bad lip reading, it's freaking hysterical. It's a satire site, just so you know, okay? This is satire. But they, at Bad Lip Reading, tried to get an accurate read of what was being said. So here's their dub.
You ought to be embarrassed.
Yeah, sure.
You ought to be embarrassed.
I'm
you
well.
ought to be embarrassed.
How are you?
You ought to be embarrassed, son.
Sure,
you got
man.
me?
Well, that's your opinion.
You're an ass.
Yeah, you're very formal. Quite a gentleman, aren't you?
That's what they...
I think they nailed it.
Well, you know, Mitt Romney actually was interviewed by a plethora of press, okay, a gaggle surrounded him as he was leaving, and they asked him, did you tell him that he should be embarrassed? And he said, yes, I did.
You just said you don't belong here.
Yeah. Why did you say that? I didn't expect that he'd be standing there trying to shake hands with every senator and the President of the United States. That's, given the fact that he's under ethics investigation, he should be sitting in the back row and staying quiet instead of parading in front of the President and people coming into the room. Did he respond to you? Look. He says he, that he embellished his record. Look, embellishing is saying you got an A when you get an A minus. Lying is saying you graduated from a college you didn't even attend. And he shouldn't be in Congress. And they're going to go through the process and hopefully get him out. And but he shouldn't be there. And if he had any shame at all, he wouldn't be there.
Okay. That's quite a leap, Mitt. You can't be a Republican and have shame at the same time. These are also ideas that you cannot hold in your head at the same time. Pro-life guns, shame, Republican. Can't do it.